Hello, in this video we're going to look at some examples how to convert a base 10 number, which is a decimal number, to a base 60 number. In real life, there are some things using base 60. For example, the time, we talk about a period of time, we say how many hours, how many minutes, and how many seconds, and that's base 60 because 1 minute equals 60 seconds and 1 hour equals 60 minutes. So we can use multiplication 60 times 60 because 1 minute is another 60 seconds, so we get 3600 seconds. Okay, so for example, if we have a number 200, which is a base 10 number, I'm going to put a subscript here to describe this number. This is a decimal number, which is base 10. When we learn math, most of the time you don't have to put this because we always talk about base 10 number. But in some math classes, sometimes for example, in computer science, a lot of times we use base 2. So you will have to indicate if this is a base 10 or base 2 or other bases. So we want to convert a base 10 number, 200, to a base 60 number. Okay. And when they say it's base 10, which pretty much means the last digit means how many ones, and this means how many tens, and this means how many hundreds. And so if it's base 60, then you will have last digit means how many, again, how many ones, but the next digit will be how many 60s, and then how many 3600s, and so on. So this question is equivalent to converting 200 seconds to how many hours, and plus how many minutes, plus how many seconds. So when we do the question on the right side, if we have 200 seconds, apparently it's not enough to make an hour because we need 3600 to make an hour. So we don't even need to worry about the hour here. It's pretty much like a 0 hour. Get rid of this here. And or you can just get rid of it. So we just need to figure out 200 seconds contain how many minutes. So we know 1 minute is 60 seconds, so we take 200 divided by 60, and we know 60 goes 203 times, and which gives us 20 left. And we know that 200 is 200 seconds and 180, so 200 contains 180 seconds, which is exactly 360s, and we have 20 seconds left. So that tells us when 200 contains 3 minutes, because 200 contains 360 seconds, 360s. So 360s, it's exactly 3 minutes. So we put a 3 right here, the quotient, and the remainder, we still have 20 seconds left. Okay, so the answer for converting 200 to the decimal number to a base 60 number, that would be these two digits. One is 20. This 20 means 20 ones, and this number 3, the second digit. So 20 here, you have to think of it as one digit, not like a decimal number. One digit will always be one number. You will not have 2 digits in one position. So each digit represents either 1 or 10 or hundreds. But in base 60, you could have 2 digits, which is just represent ones, and this 3 will represent 360s. So you can verify that 360s, that's exactly 180 plus 20, that's 200 seconds. So the answer for base 60, that would be a 3 and a little bit space 20, because if you do that, and we might think it's 320, but actually it's not 320. It's just 360s and 21s. So we can use a comma to separate them. But in this section we want you to use the we want you to describe your answer in Egyptian symbols, which is the Babylonian symbols, and which is like the wedge-shaped symbol. And we know that if you have a symbol that looks like something like this, and that represents a 1 in Babylonian mathematics, and if you have a symbol like this, and that represents 10. Okay, maybe I should just use English words. And so in order to describe this in Babylonian symbols, we're going to describe. So first let's describe, it doesn't matter actually which one you want to do first. If we describe 20, that's like 2 tens, so we draw 2 triangles. And if you want to describe 3, that's like 3 ones, so we draw 1, 2, and then 3. So leave a little bit of space right here, so you will know this is actually these 3 ones represent 60s, and these 2 tens represent how many ones. So this is like 360s and 21s. Okay, and that's the answer. So you will, in this class, you will not use the numbers. Actually this is the Arabian numbers. You're not going to use them, and Hindu Arabian numbers, and we're going to use Babylonian symbols to describe our answer. So let's look at another example. So if we have 7,000, a base 10 number, and want to convert it to a base 60 number, and in this case this is equivalent to a problem that 7,000 seconds equals how many hours, how many minutes, and how many seconds. So for this one, we have 2 ways to do it. The first way is I think a lot of students might do this way, solution 1, because we need to figure out how many hours are there. So we start from the left to right, figure out how many hours are there in 7,000 seconds. So you probably would take 7,000 and divide it by 36 seconds, because 1 hour equals 36 seconds. 3,600 seconds, and you get, it goes in there 1 time, leaves us 3,400 seconds. Okay, so second minus second, we still have second. And this 1 here represents 3,600 seconds. That is exactly 1 hour. So we get the answer for the first place here, how many hours. And then we will take the leftover 3,400 and divide it by, try to figure out, because 3,400 is not enough to make 1 hour, but it contains many minutes in there. So we divide 3,400 by take the remainder, divide by 60. So we get, so 60 goes into 345 times, and the 6 times here, get a 40. Again, the remainder is 40 seconds, because we start with seconds, 34 seconds. So this tells us 3,400 seconds, which is the leftover from 7,000, taking away 1 hour. And we have 56 minutes because 3400 contains 56 60s. So we have 56 minutes here. So we put the answer, the quotient, how many minutes, and the remainder will be 40 seconds left. And 40 seconds is not enough to make 1 minute. So that's how many seconds left. So the answer will be for our the base 60 number would be 1. That's the first. That's actually the first. The very end 40 represents 41s, and this represents 56 60s. This is ones, and this one will be 3600s. So we have this answer, and again we need to describe our answer in Babylonian form. So 40 will be 4 tens. Okay, and 56 will be 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 5. So that's 5 tens plus 6 ones, because 56 is 5 tens plus 6 ones. And we need to describe this position. That is just 1. So we just draw. I'm sorry, not 1. We should use like a little something on the top, not just the number 1. And that's actually the Egyptian way. Okay, so a 1 in this position. So we have 3 digits, 3 positions. Okay, that's probably a lot of students would do this way. There is another way, which is what we do most of the time, because when you do this way, you kind of have to check 7,000 if it contains an hour or not. Like 200, you got to check if it contains an hour or not. And even if you have a huge number like the homework, you may get 10,000, 20,000, a huge number. Actually, it contains well, you kind of, well, it may be 100,000 or 1 million. If you get a big number, you kind of have to check if it contains 60 cubed. And so what we do is we're gonna start with instead of start figuring out how many hours first, we're gonna figure out how many seconds left. So we're gonna start from this position here. So we take 7,000 and divide it by, let me write down, mark here, that's solution 2. Take 7,000 divided by 60. So I'm going to figure out 7,000 seconds contain how many minutes first instead of how many hours. So 7,000 divided by 60, I get, do a long division here. And 116. So we have 116 here, and we have 40 seconds left. Again, and seconds and minus seconds, you still get seconds. So 7,000 seconds contain 116 minutes here, because it has 116 60s, and each 60 is a minute. But I'm not going to put this number for minutes here. So I will put 40 seconds right here in the last position. So I can put 40 right here, so we get this. But I'm not going to put a 116 here, because 160 minutes apparently it still contains 60. That is an hour. So this 116 right here, it's represent minutes, does not represent seconds anymore. So 116 minutes contain how many hours? Divide by another 60, because 1 minute equals 60 seconds. So the difference here is when we did solution 1, we used convert seconds to hours. You got to divide 3600, and because one hour is 3600 seconds. But over here we just divide by 60, so we get 1 and 50 left. So you put 1 here and 50 there. Again, you will get the same answer.